Bunny Wailer, whose real name was as Neville O'Reilly Livingston, was the last surviving member of the Wailers, following Bob Marley's death from cancer in 1981 and Peter Tosh's murder during a robbery in 1987. Born on April 10, 1947, Livingston spent his earliest years in the village of 9 Mile, where he was raised by his father Thaddeus, who ran a grocery store. That was where he first met Marley, and the toddlers soon became firm friends, making their first music together at Stepney Primary and Junior High School. Following the death of Marley's father in 1955, his mother Cedella moved in with Livingston's father. The boys were essentially raised as stepbrothers, especially after Cedella and Thaddeus had a daughter together, Pearl. After moving to Trenchtown in Kingston, they met Peter Tosh and formed a vocal group called the Wailing Wailers. Because Marley said, "We started out crying. The area was poor and afflicted by violence." Livingston later remembered building his first guitar from a bamboo staff, the fine wires from an electric cable, and a large sardine can. But singer Joe Higgs, aka the godfather of reggae, lived nearby and took the boys under his wing. Under his tutelage, they refined their sound, adding vocalist Junior Braithwaite and backing singers Beverly Kelso and Cherry Green, before shortening their name to the Wailers. In December 1963, the band entered Coxswain in from a Studio One to record Simmer Down, a song Marley had written, calling for peace in the ghettos of Kingston, faster and harder than the music the Wailers later became known for. The song was an immediate hit, reaching #1 in Jamaica. They followed it up with the original version of Debbie Conqueror before releasing their debut album, The Wailing Wailers, in 1965. Soon after, the band went on hiatus, as Marley got married and moved to the USA, and Livingston served a year in jail for marijuana possession. But they still managed to release 28 singles between 1966 and 1970, before releasing their second album, Soul Rebels. Their international breakthrough came 3 years later with Catch a Fire, the first record they made for Chris Blackwell's Island Records. The collaboration came about almost by accident. The Wailers had been touring the UK with Johnny Nash, who'd had a hit with a cover of Stir It Up, but found themselves unable to pay for their trip home. Blackwell offered to sign the band to Island, paying them in advance to cover their air fares and cost of recording an album in Jamaica. Much to the band's displeasure, some of the songs were overdubbed to make them more palatable to an international audience. I felt the way to break the Wailers was, as a black rock act, I wanted some rock elements in there, Blackwell leader told Rolling Stone. Bunny and Peter didn't want to leave Jamaica, so Bob came to England when we did The Overdose. The album was not a major seller and failed to chart in both the US and UK, but it has become widely recognized as a classic. Rolling Stone magazine placed it at number 140 in its list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. Writing the Wailers' Ghetto Rage comes across uncut, and songs like Concrete Jungle and Slave Driver. Commercial success followed with 1973's Burnin', which featured classic cuts like I Shot the Sheriff, Small Axe, and Get Up Stand Up. However, it was to be the Wailers' last album to feature the original Wailers lineup. Tensions already present were exacerbated by Island marketing their albums under the name Bob Marley and the Wailers, and a touring schedule that kept Livingston away from his family. He eventually left in 1973, saying the touring lifestyle clashed with his Rastafarian beliefs, citing the pressure to eat processed foods and play freak clubs. Free from the band, he began to work on his solo album, Blackheart Man, which included classic songs like Dreamland and Fighting Against Conviction, which was inspired by his stint in prison. He went on to release several acclaimed albums, including 1981's Rock and Groove and 1980's Bunny Wailers Sings the Wailers, which saw him revisit some of the band's classic material. In the 1990s, he won the Grammy Award for Best Reggae Album 3 times with each of those records, extending and preserving the legacy of Marley and the Wailers. 1991's Time Will Tell, a tribute to Bob Marley. 1990 Crucial Roots Classics, and the 1997's All-Star Hall of Fame. a tribute to Bob Marley's 50th anniversary. In August 2012, it was announced that Bunny Wailer would receive Jamaica's fifth highest honor, the Order of Jamaica. In 2016, he played a month-long Blackheart Man tour to celebrate the 40th anniversary of his 1976 album. In October 2017, he was awarded the Order of Merit by the Jamaican government, the nation's fourth highest honor. In October 2019, a commemorative blue plaque, dedicated by the Nubian Jack Community Trust, honoring Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, and Bunny Wailer, was placed at the former site of Basing Street Studios in London, where Catch a Fire and Burning were completed in November 2019. Wailer received a Pinnacle Award in New York from the Coalition to Preserve Reggae. In October 2018, Wailer suffered a minor stroke resulting in speech problems. After suffering another stroke in July 2020, he was hospitalized at Andrews Memorial Hospital in Kingston, Jamaica, where he eventually died on March 2, 2021, at the age of 73 of complications from the stroke he suffered the previous year. His wife, Jean Watt, known to family and friends as Sister Jean, was reported missing on May 23, 2020, after wandering out of Wailer's home in Kingston, Jamaica. Ms. Watt was 70-year-old at the time of her disappearance and suffered from dementia. Bunny Wailer has 13 children. Thanks for watching, and kindly like and subscribe for more reggae content.